The forest was dark, the trees were like claws. Dylan and Ola were lost.
Ola, I'm scared.
Ola held her brother's hand. Their parents were gone. The forest was all around them.
Don't worry, I'm here.
They walked for hours. The sun went down, the shadows grew long and twisted. Strange noises came from the trees, whispers, howls. Then, a smell, sweet, spicy, amazing. It drew them forward. They had to see, they had to know. There in a clearing stood a house, but not a normal house. This house was made of candy, gingerbread walls, gumdrop windows, a licorice fence. Dylan stared, Ola stared. Could it be real? They were starving. They had to find out.
Let's go closer.
They crept towards the house. The smell was overwhelming. Dylan reached out and touched the wall. It felt real, solid, edible. Suddenly the door creaked open. A figure stood in the doorway. An old woman, smiling.
Well, hello there, children. Welcome.
The old woman invited them inside. She offered them sweets and warm milk. Her cottage, though dark and cluttered, had a certain warmth to it that made Dylan and Ola feel at ease. The aroma of freshly baked bread and the crackling of the fireplace added to the cozy atmosphere. Dylan and Ola, tired and hungry, accepted gratefully. They hadn't eaten a proper meal in days, and the sight of the food made their mouths water. They devoured the sweets and drank the warm milk, feeling a sense of relief wash over them. The old woman introduced herself as Miss Grimm. She had a kind smile and a gentle voice that made the children feel safe. She told them stories of the forest and its many secrets, her eyes twinkling with a mysterious light. She told them they could stay as long as they liked. The room was filled with strange trinkets and old books, each with its own story. The children were fascinated by the tales Miss Grimm shared, and they felt a sense of belonging they hadn't felt in a long time. Dylan and Ola felt safe for the first time since they entered the forest. Days turned into weeks. They played in the garden, explored the house, and listened to more of Miss Grimm's enchanting stories. It was as if they had found a new home. Miss Grimm was kind, but strange. She always watched them. She talked to herself. Sometimes they would catch her muttering in a language they didn't understand, her eyes distant and unfocused. It made them uneasy, but they brushed it off as harmless eccentricity. She never let them leave the house. Whenever they asked to go outside, she would find an excuse to keep them indoors. The once cozy cottage began to feel like a cage, and the children started to feel trapped. One day, Ola overheard Miss Grimm whispering. She mentioned a cage, a spell. Ola's blood ran cold. She realized that there was something sinister about their kind host, something that they had been too blind to see. Miss Grimm wasn't what she seemed. The children knew they had to find a way to escape before it was too late. The cozy cottage had turned into a place of dread, and their once kind host had become a figure of fear. Trapped! The word echoed in their minds, a constant reminder of their dire situation. Ola told Dylan what she heard. Her voice was barely a whisper, but the urgency was clear. They knew they had to escape. But how? Every corner of the house seemed to be watching them.
Miss Grimm is always watching. Her eyes seem to pierce through their very souls.
The house was surrounded by the dark forest. It was as if the trees themselves were prison bars. They decided to pretend to trust Miss Grimm. It was their only chance to find a way out. They acted happy and grateful. Every smile was a mask, hiding their true intentions. They offered to help with chores. It was a way to move around the house without raising suspicion. All the while, they searched for a way out. Every nook and cranny was inspected, every shadow questioned.
Dylan, I need your help carrying something heavy. Miss Grimm's voice was sweet, but her eyes were cold.
One day, Miss Grimm asked Dylan to come to the basement. Dylan felt a chill run down his spine. He knew it was a trap, but he had no choice. He had to play along.
Okay, I'll help. His voice was steady, but his heart was racing.
He took a deep breath and followed her down the creaking stairs. Each step echoed like a drumbeat in his ears. Ola watched from the top of the stairs, her heart pounding. She knew she had to act fast. She had to save her brother. But how? The clock was ticking, and every second counted. Down in the basement, Miss Grimm turned to Dylan, a wicked gleam in her eye. The air was thick with tension, and the dim light cast eerie shadows on the walls.
You were a fool to trust me, boy. Did you really think you could outsmart me? Now into the cage you go. There's no escape for you now.
Dylan, duck! Watch out!
Miss Grimm whirled around, startled by the sudden shout. Her eyes widened in surprise. Dylan seized his chance and shoved Miss Grimm with all his might, using every ounce of his strength. Miss Grimm, caught off guard, stumbled back and tripped, falling down the basement stairs with a sickening thud. The sound echoed through the dark, cold basement. The children stared down at her, their hearts racing, unable to believe what had just happened. They exchanged nervous glances.
Let's go, Ola! We need to get out of here now!
They ran from the house, not stopping until they were far, far away. The night was dark and the forest seemed endless, but they kept running. They never looked back. They never forgot the Witch of the Woods. Her sinister laugh haunted their dreams for years to come, and they never ate candy again, a reminder of the terrifying night they outsmarted the witch.